This meeting is being recorded.
Hello, second grade, and welcome to Unit 6, Week 5. Let's go over our vocabulary words for this week. Our first vocabulary word is the word dazzling. So something that's dazzling is very bright or shiny or sparkly. So if you're looking at the skylights or you're out at night and you're looking at all the twinkling lights from buildings that are far away, they can be dazzling. If you see a firework display, those bright color and light pops are dazzling. Next, we have the word seconds. When we measure something in seconds, that means we're measuring it in parts of a minute. So 1 second is 1/60th of a minute. So there's 60 seconds in 1 minute. Next, we have the word imagination. So when you use your imagination, you're picturing something in your head. You are visualizing. That's a fancy way of saying picturing. You're picturing something in your head. So if I am describing to you uh, a bright red daisy with 3 green leaves. You can picture that in your head. You get an idea of what it looks like. And last, we have the word create. When you create something, that's just a fancy way of saying that you made it or you invented it. So you can create a sandcastle, you can create a tower with blocks, you can create a beautiful drawing. Now, for your spelling words this week, we're going to be looking at R-controlled vowel syllables. So we've worked on these in the past. We're going to review them some more this week. Now, R-controlled vowel syllables are basically anytime you have a vowel and the letter R right after it. Those are usually going to be grouped, or they will always be grouped into the same syllable because they're making one sound. So they're either going or you can spell them ERIRUR. They make essentially the same sound. They all make that sound. You can also spell them AIRORUR. Anytime you've got a vowel and then the letter R immediately after it, it's called an R controlled vowel because it uses what we call the bossy R, so that it makes that strong R sound. So you have the words jumper, higher, star, starry, garden, better, dinner, doctor, market, harry, enjoy, display, afternoon, anyone, and everything. Okay, next we're going to talk about 3 or more syllable words. So remember, a syllable is a word part that has a vowel sound in it. And no matter how many syllables you have in a word, every syllable will have a vowel sound in it. So below we have some examples of words that are 3 or more syllables and how we divide them. So remember, one of the ways that you can divide syllables is either by clapping it out or by putting your hand under your chin. Every time your hand or your chin taps your hand, that's a syllable because we usually have to open our mouth to make a vowel sound. So I have the word respectful. I can say respectful, or dandelion, dandelion, or January, January, or operator. So all of these, you can sound them out different ways. Education, bumblebee, interesting, afternoon. So all of these, you're hearing the vowel sound in them. Some of them are just a single letter in that syllable, like January, the U, or in education is also a U. Sometimes it's just 2 letters, uh, like interesting, in by itself is a syllable, that's just 2 letters. We're also going to review metaphors. So remember, a metaphor is a way of comparing 2 different things by saying that one thing is the other thing. So words that give you a hint about what the things are that you're looking for in a metaphor is when you see the word am, is, are, was, were. These are all words that give you a clue that you're comparing things. So if I say, I am a sleepy sloth, I'm comparing myself to a sloth. That means both of us are slow and sleepy. Life is a fast moving roller coaster. I'm comparing life to a roller coaster, that both of them are moving or going by very quickly. If I say her eyes are sparkly sky blue, I'm comparing her eyes to the sky. And so I'm saying both of them are blue, both of them are bright or sparkly. So make sure you know what you're comparing when you're looking at a metaphor. So what are the two things that I'm looking at? If I say his smile was sunlight that lit up the room, I'm comparing his smile to sunlight, that both of them are very bright, both of them are lighting up the room. His smile in the sense is lighting up the room in the sense that it's making everybody happy. If I say the snowflakes were a white blanket on the grass when we woke up this morning, I'm comparing the snowflakes to a blanket. Both of them are white, both of them are completely covering the grass. So make sure when you're reading a metaphor, you're looking very carefully at what's being compared. Now, next thing we're going to talk about are adjectives. Now, an adjective is a describing word. It's a describing word that describes specifically a noun or a pronoun, and it usually comes right before that noun or pronoun. Or it comes after a linking verb, like the words was, were, is, am, and are. So we use adjectives all the time when we're describing things to other people. So if you're describing the color of your new dress, or if you're describing how to use your new toy, or you're describing the characters in a book that you're reading, you're using adjectives every single time to describe them. So I put some examples for you over here. The first one I wrote, I saw some red roses. So red is my adjective. It comes right before the word roses and it's describing them. It's telling you what color they are. If I say the big yellow sunflower bloomed, big and yellow are both words that are describing the sunflower. They're describing the color and the size. If I say the fast runner won the race, fast is describing the runner. The book was long but interesting. So was long is describing the book, and interesting is also describing the book. So long and interesting are my adjectives. The little puppy played in the big park. So little is describing my puppy, and big is describing my park. Next, we're going to talk about adverbs. Now, adverbs are words that tell us more about a verb. Just like adjectives are used to describe nouns, adverbs describe verbs. It tells us how, when, or how often a verb is happening. So how, when, how, or how often something is being done. Because remember, verbs are action words. The words like slowly, loudly, carefully, quickly, quietly, sadly, those are all adverbs. And adverbs that tell us how usually end with an ly. Not always, but most of the time, just like the words we talked about. So if I say they read their books quickly, quickly is describing their reading, how it's what they were doing. They were reading quickly. We walked quietly through the house. Quietly describes the way that we were walking. She was practicing her cursive writing carefully after school. So carefully is describing the way she was practicing it. For adverbs that show when or how often, I can say we arrived late to class. So how did we arrive? We arrived late. Or when did we arrive? We arrived late. Please remember to buy your zoo tickets early before they sell out. So early tells you when you need to buy them. I'm getting ready for bed now. Now is telling you when I'm getting ready. Always buy groceries from the farmer's market. Always tells you how often I'm buying those groceries. I have a yearly membership to Disneyland. Yearly tells you how often I get that membership. Lasts me for the whole year. Or if I say I never want to see a tarantula in real life, never is describing how often I want to see one. We also have adverbs that tell us where. So if I say the car turned right at the stop sign, which direction did it turn or where did it turn? It turned right. I stepped forward to do my presentation. The little bird flew away. We hiked up the mountain. Please put your backpack there on the rack. All of these are giving you a direction, a place that it's going towards, right, forward, away, up, down, here, there. All of those could be adverbs that tell you where. So remember, adjectives are for nouns, adverbs are for verbs. They both have the word verb in it, verb and adverb. So you remember those two are connected. The last thing we're going to talk about is end punctuation on a sentence. So every sentence has to have some kind of end punctuation. And remember, a sentence is a group of words that shows a complete thought. It has a subject and it has a predicate. Every sentence also begins with a capital letter. So the four kinds of sentences that we're going to review right now are called statements, commands, questions, and exclamations. So a statement is just a sentence that tells you something. It doesn't, it just gives you a piece of information and it ends with a period. They went to the park yesterday. That's a statement. It's just telling you something. Now, a command is also a kind of sentence, but it tells someone to do something. It's ordering them or it's commanding them. So if I say, please put the book back on the shelf, that's going to end with a period as well. But I'm telling you to do something. I'm not just saying the book is on the shelf. I'm telling you, go put it on the shelf, or leave your shoes by the door, or remember to write your name on your paper. Next, we have questions, and we know what those are. Those end with a question mark, and they're asking something. So later you're going to learn those are called interrogative sentences. But interrogative is just a fancy way of saying question. And last, we have exclamations that end with an exclamation mark. And those are those are sentences that show strong feeling or show excitement, and they end with an exclamation mark. Now let's go ahead and jump into our readings. We're going to be reading different poems this week, which is a lot of fun because we've got some really cool poems that we're going to look at. The first one is called Books to the Ceiling.
Genre, poetry. Essential question. Where can your imagination take you? Read how poems express where books can take us. Books to the Ceiling by Arnold Lobel. Books to the ceiling, books to the sky. My piles of books are a mile high. How I love them, how I need them. I'll have a long beard by the time I read them. I've Got This Covered by Laura Purdy Salas. I'm the first thing you see when you walk by a book. My picture is shouting, please stop, take a look. I've got dazzling colors, all you could want. I wish I had glitter and sparkles to flaunt. I only have seconds to show that you need to pick up this book, get comfy and read. Eating While Reading by Gary Soto. What is better than this book and the churn of candy in your mouth, or the balloon of bubble gum, or the crack of sunflower seeds, or a swig of soda, or the twist of beef jerky, or the slow slither of snow cone syrup running down your arms? What is better than this sweet dance on the tongue and this book that pulls you in? It yells, over here, and you hurry along with a red sticky face.
All right, next let's jump into our reading and writing workshop for more poems.
Genre, poetry. A box of crayons. A box of crayons is the sun on a dreary, rainy day. You can draw a hot air balloon and travel far, far away. You can draw a beach and play in the silky sand. You can draw a drum and play in a marching band. With crayons, you can always create something exciting, something great. By Isaiah Knowles. What story is this? None of us are us today. We're putting on a play. Knock, knock, knock. Someone's there. That's the wolf, my friend Claire. Not by the hair of my chinny chin chin. Julie, a little pig, says with a grin. Joseph and Pat are pigs as well. They run to Claire's house and ring the bell. Do you remember this story's name? If so, you've won this guessing game. By Trevor Reynolds.
Okay, so we read some poems and these were a lot of fun to read. For this last one, what story is this? If you guys guessed the story of the three little pigs, you were correct. Now we have one more poem called The Ticket, and then we're going to get into the last bit of our notes before we wrap up.
The Ticket. I have a special ticket that takes me anywhere. To oceans deep, the dazzling stars, a mighty lion's lair. I've been to a volcano, which is like a boiling pot. I even rode a camel through the desert, burning hot. I've shivered at the North Pole at 43 below, and built myself a cozy igloo out of blocks of snow. I've met a great inventor and helped him to create a baseball-playing robot that slides into home plate. My journeys take just seconds. I simply close my eyes, and I'm a rocket sleek and silver, speeding through the skies. What's that? You'd like to join me? Here's all you have to do. Use your imagination, and you'll soon go places too. By Constance Kermes. Make connections. Where does each poet go in his or her imagination? Which poem reminds you of somewhere you have been in your own imagination?
Okay, now let's get into the last part of our notes. And like I told you guys, we're working on poetry. And one of the things you noticed in some of the poems that we've read so far is that some of them are rhyming, or you're finding words or patterns in them that show rhyme. So remember, a rhyme is something that has the same ending sound as something else. Let's go ahead and listen to our rhyming poem information and then our point of
Rhyming
view.
poem. A rhyming poem has words with the same sound at the end of some lines, has regular, repeating rhythm, tells a poet's thoughts or feelings. Find text evidence. I can tell that a box of crayons is a rhyming poem because it has pairs of lines that rhyme. Genre. Poetry. A box of crayons. A box of crayons is the sun on a dreary, rainy day. You can draw a hot air balloon and travel far, far away. You can draw a beach and play in the silky sand. You can draw a drum and play in a marching band. With crayons you can always create something exciting, something great. By Isaiah Knowles. A verse is a section of a poem or song. In this verse, lines 2 and 4 rhyme. Point of view. The way the speaker in a poem feels about something is his or her point of view. Find text evidence. When I read A Box of Crayons on page 462, I ask myself about the speaker's point of view. Graphic organizer. Character. Speaker. Clue. A box of crayons is the sun on a dreary, rainy day. Point of view. The speaker enjoys drawing with crayons on a rainy day.
All right, that takes us to the end of our notes. If you guys have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, I hope you have a wonderful day. Take care.